Hi, my name is Todd Larson, and I'm the CEO and founder of Limitless Cost Reduction Specialist. And we're going to talk a little bit about the billing optimization process. And I'm going to use my laser pointer here to kind of follow the bouncing ball as we go through what we do. Clients all the time ask us, well, how do you do this? And while I would like to say that it's rocket science or it's magic, it isn't. It is a lot of hard work, diligence, and some very, very strong benchmark analytics that we have developed over years and years of this investigative and analytical process. But it all starts with the beginning of becoming a trusted partner for our clients. And that is earned by our expertise and capabilities and the things that we do to ensure that our clients understand we do have the knowledge to be able to provide them a better finding than they may be able to do internally. And once we've signed agreements and we've established what the cost will be and involved, and the fun part about this is the cost. Right off the bat, this seems to be the hardest for our clients to understand. But also, I think that they appreciate it, is that there is no cost to our service. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the presentation. So once we've assigned the agreements, as I said earlier, we first establish a kickoff meeting, and that's with the executive sponsor, whatever key C-level or V-level entity has signed the documentation and wants us to present to their staff. Usually we have people involved from AP, finance, sometimes from bookkeeping and or operations. Oftentimes, if it's a specialty service like a telecommunication audit, we may have somebody from IT also involved. But it's the staff that's going to be involved in the process. Now, one of those concerns would be, well, how much time is this going to take on my team? And I can say very strongly, it's very minimal. And that's one of the big pieces that we're going over here, is really to answer all those questions. How much time will it take? Where is all the process involved? How do I get my information exchanged? What things do I need to do? And when I say minimal, we're really looking at a small collection of data, a single invoice, and a letter of authorization that allows us to actually go back and work with your vendors on your behalf. And so after this call is done, that's exactly what we do. Our step 2 is to be able to collect all this vendor information. Most of it we get from the vendor directly. Some of it we get from the client, like we said earlier, a full detailed invoice. And then we obtain the contracts and supporting documentation the vendors are housing. Sometimes our clients have it, but oftentimes they do not. Another thing we can talk about with our VMS product. The supporting documentation then is completely reviewed and audited and broken down and put into our billing optimization platform inside of our VMS Platinum service. And inside of there is where we're really, if you want to say, magic happens, but it allows us to do a full detailed and analytical review, comparing your rates to current market conditions, comparing your rates to your contractual positions, and comparing your cost of terms, conditions, and clauses that you may or may not have, or maybe not written the way they should be to be in your best interest. This is where we really take that deep dive analysis, anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, depending on the length of time it takes for a vendor to get back to us. And then there's a deeper process of analyzation, which could take a few more weeks, depending on the carrier, the service, the provider, the supplier, and how willing they are to really do right by our clients. After that's done, this whole process of logging those invoices and uploading them into our VMS platform is happening at the same time. Concurrently, we are pulling all this information together. And the auditor is reviewing that process, as we just stated. Then it really comes into the fine line item details of breaking apart certain components within a bill to see where hidden costs could be actually inside that singular cost. We see this a lot with some variable cost expenses like telecommunications, where one price tag may say $49, but inside of it, it's actually 15, 16 different price points. And oftentimes those price points can be, cost inside of that price point can be eliminated to bring down your overall cost in that situation. And this is what happens. We also analyze and determine those savings opportunities to be sure that we can present them to in a written fashion. And we present those findings to the client, you now have a full record detail of what the cost was, what the cost should be, what the cost, how much it's costing you to have that cost in place, and what we can do from a recommendations aspect to provide you additional savings. And that request for approval is so that we can actually go do it for you. So this is not something that we provide you recommendations that you have to run back out to your suppliers and try to negotiate. No, we do that 100%. We just want you to know what is happening, where it's at, what the critical line item detail is, what the action is going to be taken, and then whether it's approved or not. If it's approved, of course, we go forward. We begin to work with the carriers and suppliers that you have us doing the audit for. If it's not approved, we of course ask why, so we can understand what concerns it may be, and we continue to address any concerns on those recommendations with you. Once we do receive approval, and that's in writing, we do not do anything that is not in writing. A lot of clients have asked us before, well, can't you just take an oral piece or a text? And the answer is no. And the reason being is it's really to protect you. We want to make sure that everything is done in writing, that we have a proper exchange of information, and that everything's approved and everybody knows what is happening. That allows you to stay in control of the audit while we work for you to remove unnecessary costs and reduce your overall costs. And then we implement those recommendations with your vendors, and it allows us to stay in control of the process. Now, when we're done with recommendations, afterwards, we need to provide you a proof of those savings. So we actually collect another invoice. We do a comparison in our invoice to you for the savings differential. And then based on whatever shared percentage we have agreed to, we now do that math for you on the submission of our invoice. So you'll have a past bill amount, line item detail, you'll have a future bill, and then you'll actually have the costing in writing of what the difference is and what your fee would be to us. Remembering, like I said earlier, you really have no cost. This cost is we're taking a piece of what we're already finding you in savings after we've already saved it for you. So it's just a fantastic service for you to be able to explore with the third-party expertise we provide. Now, what we do is we do this on a quarter-over-quarter basis for an agreed-upon shared amount of time. And in that agreed-upon shared amount of time, that has to do with a percentage of split and so on and so forth. We have 3 different models, and we can talk about that at another time. But this continuous verification is this quarter-over-quarter basis to make sure that something doesn't change. And we see it happen quite often. Somebody makes the adjustment and changes it, and later on, a month later, 2 months later, a quarter later, a year later, all of a sudden it goes back to the old price or even worse price than it was. This is where we hold the vendors accountable, the suppliers accountable to those changes, and we have it documented in writing, and we can go and act on your behalf without having to involve you in any way, shape, or form, keeping your cost low and keeping your involvement low, yet your return high. And that's really what it comes down to, is having this proven result that you get each and every time before you even see a bill. So it's about us being a trusted partner, utilizing this powerful process of benchmark analytics that we have to provide you proven results every time. It's our billing optimization process, and I look forward to speaking with you more about any questions you may have in how we are able to help drive unnecessary cost out of your business each and every day that we work with you.